Hello, everybody. It's David R. Becker here from the Villages in Florida. Florida, I guess it's called the Villages here down in Florida. The weather has been really almost like back home. It's actually was 33 degrees when I got here, but it warms up during the day. Anyways, welcome from Florida. And I just got done with a beautiful workshop at the Villages, the Villages Art Center. We did a watercolor workshop and we did a acrylic workshop and a paint party, by the way. It was a really lot of fun. We wore a mask the whole time and it was all a great workshop. We got done this afternoon with a super, oh boy, we did like 3 or 4 paintings today. Exercise, I call them. And so let's see, we're gonna talk about our Zoom classes when I get back home. I'm driving back home tomorrow and I'm gonna get to some of those Zoom classes, getting those together again for the second test. The first test went great. We're gonna try another test, and we're gonna do about 3 tests because we got about 75 people that want to test out the Zoom classes. All right, and so we'll get them to work in perfect. I do have a new group on Facebook, and a bunch of you have already posted your paintings that you've done here from the from my YouTube things, and let me just show you what it's called. It's called the Facebook.com groups BeckerArt Float Your Pigment FYP Goal Achieving Group. So try to go to Facebook on this website, and I'll invite you if you are actually invite yourself. I just try to join it. Just say hit the button where it says join group, and I will let you in if you're one of our people that come here and paint with us. And then we're gonna achieve some goals, some watercolor goals, water media goals. So hopefully you have to be a water media person. And so come over there. Let me show you my supplies for all you newcomers here to the Becker Art demonstrations and paint-alongs. Here's what I use. I use Holbein paints, Holbein brushes, Stonehenge aqua paper. Usually use 300-pound paper, cold press. And so that's what I'm using. Let's go to our value study and show you what we're going to be painting today. So today we're painting a scene I took this shot in Venice at a workshop I did in Venice many years ago. And what you want to see here is that what is dark and what's white. You know, I always break down my photos to black and white. If I don't do a value study, I bring them down. I'm in here in Florida, so I didn't have a chance to do a value study, a pencil value study. So I took it down. I took down the picture and I made it black and white just to see. And so everything on the shadow area and down this little hallway in Venice was all dark, and then the people are dark and light, and then the wall behind it I consider as my light. Even though it's a middle tone, you know, this middle tone right here, let me just show you this middle, oh boy, here, hold on 1 second, let me put this up here. This up here, this background back here, that is a light. I know it's a middle tone, but I consider it the light, because middle tones can go to either the light or the dark. And so let's go back to me looking at you. And so I just want to show you today, one of my students there, Sarita, her husband Bill, gave me a beer from Pottsville, Pennsylvania, I think. And so we're drinking today. We're drinking, oh boy, look at how light this is in here. You can't even see it. So I'll show you later. So we're gonna toast you guys. You know, always bring our craft beer of the week. And so this is from Pennsylvania, even though we're down here in Florida. Couldn't find a Florida beer. Anyways, cheers everybody. Cheers, cheers, cheers. So let's see what we got here going here. We'll go to the tabletop and get started here. So I've got it drawn up. Again, drawing is number one. Remember, drawing is number one. And let's see who else with us today. So we've got Mill, welcome Mill, Sue, we got Tina, Maria, who we got here? Sherry, Maria, another Mary, and we got all kinds of you. Catherine, hey Carol. I'm coming back for my class, not this week. I'm gonna be driving this week into McHenry, but I won't be there in time for this weekend's class. So come next Saturday, the following Saturday, I will have class again. And so let's get going here. we are going to start with our lights. And so I'm gonna be working the background to foreground, and the foreground is my dark colors, and the background back here, and hopefully I sound okay. I'm in my hotel room here in the Villages, and hopefully you can hear me. And I'm putting it down. I'm watering it down first, my light area, and so I will go around the people because I want to have this like a middle tone, and I'm wetting it down so I can float my pigment. And so I'm just going to put it down like this. Actually, I can go into the dark area too because that's going to be darker, right? So I'm not sure why I'm going around those parts. So you can go right into these parts. And I'm going to make the background warm, and I'm going to make this foreground cool. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but hopefully it does. And so I can gray it a little bit, but I'm going to make the top. And I'm not on the photograph. You see, there's a band across the top here. I'm not going to put that in as quite as stark as that, because otherwise it's going to look too linear right there, and I don't want to have that line going across the edge of there. So I'm just bringing this light middle tone in here. I can bring some of these lights into the brick over here and brick over here, and then as I go down, I notice that we have like a little brickwork down there. And so this is my 5th painting today. We did 4 paintings today, 4 exercises. I think I worked them a little bit too hard today in the class, but they had fun. We had a real good time. This is what was my acrylic class that we kind of work like watercolor. So we did the acrylics today. And tomorrow morning I leave for back home. Hopefully the weather will be okay. And I think we're all safe. We all played it safe the whole time, so that's good. I will probably quarantine myself for a couple of days or a week, but it was looking pretty good down here. It was all safe, and we were all staying masked. And so here we go with the dark up here a little bit. Again, I'm not putting the line up there. I don't want my eye to go up there. There's a little bit of schmutz, some kind of dirt on there. I'm not sure what that is. All right, so that's going to be pretty much the background. We're going to do a little bit of, again, you see that it is warm. I'm using a warm color in here, and it looks kind of dark right now. It doesn't look kind of dark, but it'll be lighter. I'm going to go around this lamp because I want this lamp to be light. And the sun's kind of coming from this way and going into that direction. Well, I got my hand here. Cheers, everybody. It's been a long week. We've had a great time at the thing. If you have a place that you're at and they're doing workshops live, let them know about me coming to them. I will come. You know, there's a lot of them that are not. A lot of them we got canceled this year. So, but there's still a few going, and we're very, very careful. And hopefully, if everybody gets their vaccine, we will all be up and running again, right? So this in here is going to be warm too. I forgot to put this warm. So this is like a lighter warm. Like you're going to see the light coming through there. So you can see it inside this little storefront here. I'm going to put a little bit of that. I could put maybe a little warmth in this one. Why not? Let's make this window open like it's lit up. Even though it's going to be dark around the whole thing, we can light a little bit of color in there too. Hey, Sarita, there it is. Sarita's online. All right, thanks for the beer, Del Ben. It's really good. It's a really good beer. Glad you like the beer. Oh, yeah, thanks. Can watch you live on phone, but not on smart TV. Okay, well, thanks. Good to know that I can't watch me on smart TV. Let's just figure out what that's all about. All right, so there we got our lights, and so this is just a slight variation of dark down here. And we're going to put that in there like that. Again, these windows and such back there, I'm just first put a big wash over everything, just kind of, and as you see, that's kind of a warm. And when I go into this area here, it's going to be cool so that it pops forward. And then the people are going to be warm. And so that's my center of interest, the contrast within the people. I could make it slightly lighter, like, or more prominent of some of these bricks in here. I can do that. I gotta watch out for the people because I gotta make sure that I don't get rid of all the light from them. And the windows I'll put in afterwards. All right, so that's pretty much my light area. I can put in maybe these shadows. No, that's later. I'm gonna put those in later. Just gonna go right through these things that are gonna be darker in front. These things are silhouetted in front of that, so you can go right through them. Don't worry about stuff that you can go through. I could even have taken that into this area, but I'm gonna make it cool, so I don't want to have that. I'm waiting for it to dry, so I don't have a hairdryer here. So I did use one of their towels from the from the hotel. Hopefully I won't get it too dirty, otherwise they're gonna charge me, right? So we're gonna go in here now and go right into our darks. Let's get our dark shadows in here. Any questions? Remember, ask me your questions and I will look up every once in a while to see if you have any questions. Okay, so here we go. Actually, Sarita, tell you, Ben, it's a really good beer. I give it 10 paintbrushes. 10 paintbrushes. I gauge my beers by 11 paintbrushes as a top beer. This is a 10. It's not an 11. 11 is the greatest beer ever, and we haven't had a few of those, but this one's good. It's good. It's a 10, number 10 paintbrush beer. And so let's go. So hopefully this is light enough. I know it's hard to see, but I'm using the lights from the room here at the Marriott. And so hopefully I got them light enough here so you can see what I'm using. Made up a little bit of my workstation here. And so I'm gonna come up here, I'm gonna get my darks going in here. And I'm wetting as I go along. I'm not wetting it first with just water. I'm wetting as I go along because I want to, I can't wet this whole thing and expect to get to this spot. So when I have that under my belt, I need to just take a little bit of color and go through and get my hard edge, and then work it as I go along. And I get this spot done so that I don't, let's bring it down a little so you can see it. I get this spot done so that when I get over to this spot, that's already finished. And then I can do my second wash on there. Oh boy, they're gonna hate, the hotel's gonna hate my nice dirtiness right there. Oh well. And then we're gonna go in here and get a little bit of a red going through here. And remember I said I wanted cool colors, so why don't I start doing cools? But back here, this is back, and as I'm coming forward, it's gonna get more cool. So let's see if we can get a little bit of red back here and then just float your pigment back there. And then there's a window right here. Go around that. There's a door and a couple of things here. So I'm going to go over that. There is a awning here that goes out there. And so this brush is too big to do that little thing. So I can't go in there. So I'm going to put that over there for a second. Bring out my round brush, or actually bring out my flat brush, because the flat brushes are easier to do rectangular shapes. And so when you're doing buildings, a lot of times it's easier just to take a flat brush to do that. This awning, let's make it red since it is Italy, and it is Venice. This scene comes from, it's a shot I took at one of my workshops that I had done in Venice many years ago. I think it was like 5 years ago or something like that. And so we're gonna come down here, get that coming out there. Looks like that's dry already. Come down here, make it cool. I'm making it cool. Even though you're making it cool, it doesn't mean you don't have to put warm colors in there. You can still make warm colors in this spot, and as it comes back, it's going to get cooler. And when you're floating, you can float any colors you want in there. And actually, you can even put some of the, there's like a little, I don't know, walkway up here, or a little balcony, so I can put a little bit of that in there. I can kind of fake that underneath, like this is the underneath part. And it's going to be a soft edge, but later on I can come in there with something a little bit darker. Underneath the awning, I can glow. I can make a glow of orange. I always like to do that with the brilliant orange, not the orange yellow, but more of the brilliant orange. You can do that underneath here too. I'm going to bring this over. bring this down. I'm not sure. This is some kind of plaque over here. And I know it looks really blue. My screen looks really blue, but this is actually grayer than it looks on my screen up here. So it's not quite as dark as you think it's going to be, or not quite as blue as it's going to be. I kind of come down here. I get some violet, some blue, some black even. I come down this way. Any questions? Let me see. What do we got here? Nope. Just Sarita. Thanks again for the beers, Sarita. Tell Ben it was good. And so we go like this. We come down. I'm mixing as I'm going. I'm wetting as I go along. See, I'm just wetting it and getting it blue over here. And then this little, I don't know, some kind of plaque on the wall here. And then there's a shelf unit. And see how dark it is? It's going dark. And I dip into a lot of different colors. Get that out of the way so I can get some grays over here. Now this is my area of interest. Well, this is secondary area of interest. This is this first center of interest, and this is secondary interest. So I still got to get some nice colors over here. I don't want to just leave it gray. And so I'm going to go over here and then just, let's see what I got. So I get pretty much the darks and middle tones over here. And then the darks come, of course, later when I do the second wash, and I get that. I'm gonna go back for my big brush because I'm going across the floor, and that's a shadow. And so let's get a little bit of violet in there, maybe a little bit of blue. Cool color. I'm doing this a cool shadow. Gonna paint this across. And I'll remember, float your pigment in there. I can put a little bit of red in there. Take a little bit of the warm, cool. It's mostly cool that I'm painting across this. So, so a couple people were asking me, is this the same way I do my Zoom classes? Well, the Zoom classes, we were working together, and so we were basically, you're painting after I paint. So I would do this first wash, and then you would do the wash. And so that's how the Zoom classes go. And the reason I also want you to have two cameras, or one camera that you can move to your painting so I can see you paint. Because when you paint on Zoom, I want to see what you're doing, and so I can give you comments. I can tell you if you're doing it right or wrong. Or all right, so that's kind of a cool color. And again, on your screen, depending on what your screen is like, this is a lot grayer than my screen. My screen looks like it's almost ultramarine blue. I did use a little bit ultramarine, but this is a lot grayer than it looks on my monitor. So it's a grayish blue. And then I'm gonna wet this area here. Just gonna wet it all down. I'm working my way around to the darks. And so we're just going like this. And thanks for the quote there. Thanks. Yeah, it's fun doing it live too. Actually, it's fun painting these for you guys. So I'm glad you enjoy them. We're going down. And again, I did put that new Facebook page together for you guys to comment on each other's work and to kind of get things going for teaching, and so that I have a place to tell you guys what I'm thinking about your painting, or if it's great, I can tell you that too. You've been doing some great stuff out there, and so thanks a lot for posting them on the new group site that I just put together. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to leave this, I decided to leave this window a little bit lighter. It's not like that in the photo, but again, you can do whatever you want. And so since I have a little bit of light on this side, I'm gonna have a little light on this side too. And then I'm gonna make this a little bit darker as it comes on this way. Dipping into Prussian blue, some light blues, and then I'm gonna put some red in there to make it kind of a purpley color. And then I will do the parts of this later. I can also put some red closer to the wall over here so that it looks like it's warmer and it goes back to a cooler spot. I can even put maybe I put a little reflection in there. I always like to put the reflection like it's wet. I don't know why. I love doing that. It's just fun to make things look wet. And so I just kind of, it's wet still. The watercolor is wet here. And so I just bring down a little wash of dark, and that way it makes it look kind of cool. You can also, while you're working at wet, you can also take the thick amount of pigment and then just have it go in there, and you can draw an edge. All right. Okay, so that's my, looks like pretty much my dark areas. So let me get my flat brush again. And so I'm going to put that little in there. I will not have to make it quite that light. And so there's my dark shadow around here. I'm going to get a little bit darker over here, I think, because I want it to come back. You know, I want it a little bit darker as I come back here. And maybe there's a little bit of dark inside this window. So I'm just going to take thicker pigment. The thicker the pigment in a wet wash, the more you can control it. You can control the edge. It's going to be a soft edge, but you can control it. A little bit more warm in the front here, because the front part would be a little bit warmer because it's closer to where the warmth is coming from the sun. The sun will give you a little bit of warmth there. Now this got pretty light, but it's a little bit darker than you see. How if I turn it sideways, how you can see this is a little bit darker right there. And then I really don't want to give that too much attention up there. I just don't like the fact that it runs like across there. It's not going to be that important. I can maybe do a little light tint on that later. Is it dry? Maybe I'll do it now. Just a little light tint of color, just to give it a architectural feel to it, like whatever the architecture is up there. I think it's the top of the roof here a little bit, underneath the roof. I don't want to give it too much because I want it to stay back. You know, just enough to show that there's some kind of architectural element to that part of the building. And I don't want it to run along that edge. You know, you don't want to do that. So now I can go in, this is dry, I can do those windows back there. And so I'm going to use some of the coolness of this background in that window, because it's window and it's reflecting this, what I'm in front here. So I'm going to go in here and just give this a little nice dark window. And I'm not doing it as contrasty as the photo. See how the photo is really dark that I took. I mean, I don't want it that dark, because then my eye's going to go there too much. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just kind of, you know, of course, once I get it in there, I float a little bit more pigment in there. And it does try 20% lighter. And I will put a little bit of orange in the eave. Always a little orange in the eave of things. It makes it look more real. Bring this down behind here. Now over here, there's also a awning that's light. So I'm going to go in here and just go right down through this. There's a little, some kind of display of, I think, postcards. And so I'll leave that alone. This, it's kind of funny because this lamp is actually light against this dark of the background there. But I can't do that because I'm keeping that light. So that's going to be a dark lamp. Even though I know it looks nice with it light like that, but I'm going to keep it light, the background, and make that dark. All right, this is not drying yet. So let's go in here. Let's do inside the little room here, and it's kind of going to be a little dark in there. I'm going to give it some darkness. Warmth though, I'm going to give it some orange glow, like something's happening in there. And then you can rub it a little bit, scrub it. Here I go from the same thing, I go a little dark. It's a warm and it's different from the cool colors. I can put a little bit of cool in there just so that it really looks like it's warm, like the sun, not the sun, but the light is in there. Warm light is inside the building. And the floor, wisp it a little bit. Same thing on this side. I don't want it so bright that it's not in the shadow. It's still in the shadow, but then the light is lighting up this window from the inside. Gonna do that a little bit. And again, I can make these darker later, but it has to dry first. So while that's drying and all these things drying, then I'm gonna go right into my people, because I have time. It's dry right here. The background is pretty much behind it done. I'm gonna do a little bit of these bricks. I'm just gonna take and do a little tint, A tint again is using a lot of water, hardly any pigment. So you just get a little tint of color. It's not much pigment, but it's enough to do something, and it's very transparent when you do tints. So I'm just doing these little, it looks like bricks, I'm doing little bricks. All right, and so now I'm going to put on my glasses so I can see what I'm doing for the people. The people I'm going to do with a small brush, and normally I do them at the end, but because I have to wait for this to dry, I might as well put them in now. And I'll get the light tones of the people, and not the dark parts. Again, I'm still doing the middle tone on the people, so I will get the like the flesh tone, the light parts of like maybe the jackets that are light. Here, their faces are. And same thing with these guys right here in front. I'll just go and put some of that like that. A little bit of pink. And then it looks like this person has a pink or red pink jacket. Use a little white to make a pink. I got pink over here. Why don't I just use pink? And so we're going to highlight that. And I notice that when the sun is hitting really something really bright, it makes it almost like it's white, right? So you'll make things in there on the side actually white. Like on the edge, it'll rim light it with a little bit of red. And I kind of made up what, I couldn't quite tell what was happening there. So I had one person have a newspaper up or something like he was looking at a newspaper or a map. Maybe you can have a map here. Like where are they going? Like never anybody uses a map anymore. It would be more like they're all on their phone, right? So I should have done that. You can tell how old I am. So we're going to put this like this. And then we're going to maybe give this person a little bit of color in the pants so not everybody's wearing jeans. And then this one we can have like gray, a little bit more gray. And let's give this person a very light blue top at first, and then we'll darken it later on with a darker blue. We'll go with orange on this side, leaving the newspaper light. And then these people over here coming in there, get them dark there. I can maybe put red on this guy, nice bright red. Let's see what's happening there. It's hard to tell. Again, any questions, let me know. I know a lot of you guys have heard everything I've been talking about many times, so that's probably why you don't have any questions, right? You've heard it all. So let me go here, get some dark, make some brown. I've got some brown right here, and this is a lone brown. Dark side here. Oopsie. And then this guy has more like a leather jacket on, so I'll keep it light. And we'll come down. And these guys go into the shadow, but there are parts of their pants you can see are in the light, so I'll keep the top part light, and then I'll come back in later with more of a dark shadowing. So again, I'm going with the light part first, the middle tones and lights, and then I'll come back in. This guy comes like down this way. This guy come this way. And see how it's not that dark yet. It's more of a middle tone. It looks kind of dark, but it's not. It's more of a middle tone. I'm going to go in there later on, and I'll nice rich dark. Here we go there. And then right away I'm going to put the shadowing down on the floor from them, because their sun's coming this way, so you're going to hit hard right here, and then it goes back. And then I go through these guys, around these guys actually. Oh, nice long shadows. These guys they're in the shadow, hitting a little bit, so maybe one of them I'll put a little bit of that. And then also, might as well right away, since you got that color in your brush, you can go right away and do a little bit. I made it lavender and a little bit of light blue. maybe a little bit of purple. And I'm just going to get some of that right away too. Just, it's going to be, I don't know what kind of shadows these are coming from. It's just all this mess right there. And so I have a little bit of a red awning on this side. That's a light awning because it's hitting the sun. The sun's on that side, so it's kind of brighter. So I'll make it a little bit brighter right there, the awning. And then there's all these like postcard stands or something over there, along with that window back there. But I'm going to take my rectangular brush. My flat brushes are when I'm doing things that are rectangular. Okay, where can I put these brushes? I don't make this towel too dirty. Okay, we're going to go in here and we're going to make the postcard stand now. So we're going to get it dark and we're just going to kind of make little rectangles, postcards coming through here. Some black. You can start out with a dark color and then once it's wet you can float some other pigments in there. So this is like a postcard stand little thing, and then you got another kind of stand which I don't know what it is. This goes all the way to here against the building, and of course I'll put color in there. After you get it in there, then put a little color here and there. There we go, a little orange. Then this is going to be a dark. So basically that was my middle tone. Now I'm going to get my darks because I have everything light, middle tone. Now let's go for our darks. Let's get some items in here, some objects, because when you're doing objects, you're making them dark, pure dark. So somebody asked, I'm not sure what your name is, Cedar Pope, asked how long did I spend on my drawing? Well, I was like I think about 15 to 20 minutes before I went on. I did this in my hotel room, so I had to get it done before. So about, I would say 15 to 20 minutes. And that's only because also I was an illustrator before I was a fine artist, or as I was a fine artist and a teacher. I always was a teacher right out of school, but I've drawn as a storyboard illustrator, so it takes me not that much time to actually do the drawing. And this was freehand. I didn't use a projector on this one because I'm in my hotel room and I don't have a projector with me. Otherwise, sometimes if I'm lazy, I will use a projector. But I was telling my class today that I work from my imagination a lot when I was working as an illustrator, and that has helped me to be able to draw pretty much anything I've seen. If I can draw, if I've seen it, I can pretty much draw it. And I'm in the process. Has been about 3 years now. I've been writing a book, or actually a sketchbook, on how to do that. A how-to book on how to work from your imagination, which hopefully will be coming out sometime in the future. I just been so busy, and I actually have it written. I just have to get it photographed. I got to do some photographs because it's an assignment book. You sit there and you learn how to draw through my assignments, and so that'll be coming out hopefully end of this year, maybe next year. We'll see. We'll see how long that takes. Right now, I'm just trying to get our workshops back and running. So again, if you have a workshop, some shop place, let them know. I am available. We've all of us artists, teachers, we got hit pretty hard last year. All our stuff went away, and so this year we want to try to get it back again. And all the ones I did last year, nobody got sick on any of them. We were very careful, and so last year I did Dillman's, which I still have coming up. Dillman's up in Wisconsin, Lac du Flambeau. I've got that one coming up probably in the spring. So there's one of them. I've got one in the Thousand Islands, New York, that I did last year. Going to do it again. Everybody was safe on that one, and we're doing it in the same place. So that's going to come up on my website soon. I just have to find out what all the details to it and stuff, and so that'll be coming up in the spring, or that one's actually near the summer, in the July. I don't think Holbein's doing the one I would normally do in Holbein that we do, and I'm not sure if Canada is going to open up again for us to go into Canada, because I like to go into Canada and do some workshops in Canada. I have relatives in Canada. I like to go see them again. And so we'll see how that goes. And so here we're just going now, and so yeah, back to the drawing end of it. I've drawn as my profession. I've been a drawer or illustrator for over 35 years, and then now I'm doing fine art, but that has helped me so much when it comes to my drawing ability to be able to draw from your imagination, draw anything that you've seen, and then just draw it. So if I have the photograph, then it's even easier because it's all there for me to draw. So again, this one took about 15 to 20 minutes to draw up. And a lot of this now is I'm faking. I don't even see the drawing anymore. So I'm just actually drawing with my paintbrush. I'm drawing, like this is a little shelf with stuff on it. So I'm just taking and I can see a little bit of it underneath, but I'm just faking this stuff there. And this is a railing, which is not even, it's kind of in there. So you make stuff up as you go along too, especially if you do have that ability to make things up. If you don't have that ability and you're trying to learn how to do that, follow the picture pretty much, and hopefully it's a good picture too. This picture I think is a pretty decent picture, so you can pretty much follow it, except for like I was saying, the background there is a little bit tough with the how dark it was. I thought maybe it's not, maybe I'm being wrong, maybe it's not, maybe it's fine the way it is. I thought it was just a little bit dark for what I wanted. And here we're gonna do a darken here. Get my half brush here. Somebody asked, do you consider whether your paints are transparent, semi-transparent, opaque, or all of that second nature to you? Well, I use a lot of colors that are opaque. I have a lot of colors that have white in them. But if you apply it onto your paper in a wet into wet fashion, then it becomes transparent. It just happens to become a pastel color, which I think, it's nice to use some pastel colors once in a while in your work. So yes, I do. I do kind of think about it, but I don't think about not using them because they're opaque. Because everything is the same when it comes to how you put it down is makes it different, makes a difference. So if I wet the surface, like right now I'm wetting the surface, I can put a light on top of a dark. So I'll show you right now. Actually, I'll put a light orange on top of a dark thing. So that's kind of opaque, but it's an opaque orange. And so watch that, right on top of, but it's wet. And so it will float in there and it will look very fresh. It won't look like it's opaque. It'll look very transparent. And that's because I'm floating the pigment, and why I call everything float your pigment. It's all about how much water you use and letting that pigment float into the water. Because if you float it, then it's kind of just comes down, manipulates itself with the other pigments that's there, and then just floats down and becomes a very fresh looking wash. And that's what you want, is a fresh looking wash. Always fresh looking. So I'm going to make that the same like here, and then this is kind of like, I kind of make this mistake here. There we go. I'll bring this down a little bit. The nice thing about this paper too is I can rub out. The Stonehenge Aqua is nice because I can use it and rub out a little bit. So I'm going to put this little ledge right here. And so I'm just, in Venice, all the walls are so, they have so much stuff that's collapidated, where you're coming down and you see bricks to the wall, it's coming down because there are floods. And so you're going to get a lot of this brickwork showing through some of the cement because it's crumbling so that's a cool thing though. I enjoy that. So I actually took the picture of that wall because it's like you see through some of the things where the facade of the building is like getting corroded. And so there I put a few bricks in there. And you can do a light on top of dark and dark on top of light, hard edge when it's dry. But to put a light on top of a dark, you need to wet it first and it has to float. Otherwise, then it becomes gouache. You're using it like a gouache surface, or a gouache paint if you're using an opaque. Here, I'll put a little bit of tile work in there too. Just faking it a little bit. And here I'll put a little line to make it look like there's some kind of architectural part of that building. Facade that's architectural looking. Here, a couple of things happening there. So if you look at it a little bit closer, see how when I look a little closer, see how you see the little bricks going in there now? So you just get those little things, just shining through, and see how this little thing looks like. Remember I was saying I'm making a wet street, so it looks like kind of like a puddle. I just do those things just because it's fun to do those. It just, and instead it's not in the photo, but hey, it looks kind of cool. And so there's also on the street, there's a bunch of lines here that show the tile work, like how it is. And they're like this. There's a line that goes back, and these tiles are like this. And then there's the, on an angle, they have a bunch of tiles that go on an angle. You could leave it with the pencil line, but because I did pretty much pigment over it, I kind of lost my pencil lines on that. So now I got to paint them in. And it just gives it a kind of a look, and I don't do it with a ruler. I don't make it really important that you have to make it really solid. I just make it enough so you can see, and then you can go put it in the shadow too, like it's extended into the shadow. And the light is so bright that you don't see that. Okay, I'm not putting it down there because it's so bright. Now we're gonna come here. All right, so now we're going in here, and there are going to be another couple of little things that are more important, because now I'm at that point where I'm just doing my fine detail, the fine, super fine detail, the darks that create details. With the little brush, and let me do this. There's a lamp right over here. How much time do we have? Okay, we're at 7:11, and so we'll end by 7:30. I mean 8:30 here in Florida. And again, I know this lamp is dark or light against the dark, and you can, if you'd like to make that a little bit darker, be my guest, but I'm gonna make it darker against the light. I think it's gonna work better, and I could be wrong. It could be, maybe it is nice to have that dark up there, but I just feel I'm gonna make it a turquoise lamp, a little bit of grayish blue green. I'm just gonna kind of make it a kind of fancy lamp here, and kind of like copper looking color, like a copper type of color, and then I make it really dark on this side because the sun's coming this way. And then we can even highlight it a little bit with some white on there, but here I'm just going to put it against the wall, give it a nice, so you got all this fancy little scrolling in there. Look at all that fanciness. I'm going to use my rigger brush for that. Where did it go? Oh, it's over here still. So my little fancy rigger. Cheers, everybody. We're getting close here. So we're just putting in our darks. It's amazing when you get a chance to put in your darks. And any more questions, put them up there. Still looking. And so scroll work again here. Look at that, a little bit. Then you can put it like a little on the side here, like that. It's amazing in Europe, all these little scroll things and all the fanciness that they have in the architecture. It's not modern here. It's definitely not modern buildings that are in Venice. And so you got all these beautiful darks in here now. And so how do I make my darks? I start with black, and if I want them warm, I put red in them. If I want them cool, I put blue in them, or some type of blue in there. And so here now I'm going to negative paint like the windows. And so these are my darks. These are the ones that are really going to push the envelope of dark. And you can also not make it so hard edge by I'm taking it across it quickly and then just wisp it downwards. That way it's kind of fuzzy, right? And so I don't need to have everything so perfectly done with hard edges. I can still do soft edges by wisping your brush. I can do this black and then make it more blue, and watch this, I can just go whoop, wisp it. wisping it makes it so it kind of goes, and then you lift up the brush, and so it'll give it a nice soft edge, and it'll even pick up the texture of the paper too. A little dark there. All right, so I think that side's pretty much done, right? We want to put a couple bricks in here that are a little dark. And now let's put some nice little lines down here for the awning here. Make it look kind of Italian. A little red there. Now we're going to get some really crisp darks on the people and on the things over here, and that will be done. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the darks in the people, and that way we can gauge how much we can do in the other parts. I want to make it on the right side of them. I'm going to make it dark and then show the reflection of the shadows because that's away from the light. So you're just going to kind of go in there and get the darks. This is my center of interest, so it can be hard edged. It can be contrasty. Go here a little bit. And let's put a little bit of shadow on that map that nobody ever uses anymore. They would be on, like I said, they would be on cell phones, smartphones. Let's go in here. Let's give him a little bit darker, the pants a little bit darker on this side. Show it going into a little shadow there. Oh, let's take my finger and I put it a little bit on the side here. Same thing with her. And the bottom part and on the side is dark, but parts of their pants are in the shade, and the parts of it are in the light. So a little bit of juxtaposition to that, to their to what where they're standing. Dark. All right, we got a little bit of we got some things here to put in there. There's like little, I'm not sure what this is that they're selling here. Some kind of trinket, some kind of touristy trap thing. Little products there. And we can do a little bit of, on the shelf there's a little stuff happening here. And I'm going to get the really dark stuff. So underneath the awning, nice and dark. You want some rich darks so that it pops out, so things pop out. Most of the stuff I want to be not popping out, so it goes to this area, but see how it's glowing outside the door? But then there are some things happening in there, so I want to make some really rich darks. And like I said, I start with black, but then I can go to the red if I want it warm. I can go to another color if I want it blue. If I want it cool, I can go to blue. And it is dry brushed. It's on dry. I don't float that pigment on for that because I already have a nice wash there. I'm trying to identify a shape and I'm trying to identify a thing. And so let's put a little bit dark here. Maybe I can do this. Get that a little bit darker. And put some brickwork in there. Any questions? Maybe that's why David drinks beer. Oh, wait, do you ever drink your paint water by mistake? Yeah, I'm actually using a mug today. Nope, I haven't done that, but I do sometimes put I'm kind of glad it's a can because if it's a can, I can't put my brush in there. Otherwise, I'd probably put my brush in there. Carol asked, why did you choose this to paint tonight? Was it show values? Is it a dramatic photo? No, I'm not sure why I chose this one. I think it was just I wanted to do something that had a big shadow area. Again, just called me when I was leaving for Florida and I needed to do something quick. And so I went through my photos and it just spoke to me, I guess. And I thought it'd be kind of neat to do like a scene with people for one. I like to have people in it. And then I wanted to do the big cool and warm in section. So there's not a really lesson to this one as per se like I normally do sometimes. and I just was thinking I had to get it done fast anyways because I was down here in Florida and I didn't know if I was going to do a plein air one. I thought I was doing a plein air one, but by this time at night at 7:30, it's dark out there, and so um, and I don't know how to do a dark scene with the camera, and so we're just gonna. So I just really quickly picked up this painting, this picture, and it is a fun scene anyway. So that's why I did it. And I try to switch things off. And also, if you guys have suggestions of what you want to paint, please, please, please let me know what you want to paint and what you're looking to paint, and I can kind of bring that in and see if you're having problems with a certain kind of painting. I can see if I can find something like it, and we can work it together. And so I think this is almost done. And let's see, let's get a couple things up here. I don't want to put too much emphasis on stuff over there. Maybe I'll take a little bit of, there's a little bit in these windows, there's like the little crisscrosses in there. So maybe do a little bit where I just do, some of them I'll fill them in with a little dark in there. Can put this in there. Because it is part of the center of interest, so it's okay to put a few of those in there and just get it to looking realistic in this area. That's fine. A little negative painting in there. And let me look at it from a distance. I'm going to stand up for a second. I need to get this a little bit darker in there. Hold on, let me take some really dark. Take some purple, dark, black, and I'm going to come in here and just make this really nice and dark like it's underneath. At the same time, get the next awning that is right here. Float it back. Now it's wet. Once it's wet, I can float pigment in there because it's kind of like dull if I just use black and the color by itself. But once I float it, then I can go in there and I can put other colors and float it on top of that. So I go like that. Okay, down. Okay, I think that's pretty much it, guys. I think I'm just going to look at it again. I'll have to look at this from a distance again. I may put a little bit of color up there because it kind of does look like it maybe needs a little bit darker. A little texture in there. I'll try a little bit lighter. Okay, I think that's going to be pretty much it. I think we've got it done. Let's see if we have any more questions. And Nocturne, yeah, it'd be kind of fun. Would have to learn how to paint the night scene and actually be able to film it too at the same time. I can do a night scene itself, but not a plein air night scene because that's a little bit tough because I'm outside. If I'm outside doing a plein air, but definitely we're gonna do a night scene again. Definitely do that. Actually, it's fun doing a night scene. Actually, today I did a scene, and I don't have it here, otherwise I show you. But I did a scene on black paper of a guitar player, and it's done on black paper, and that's kind of fun. Actually, this scene I did last year at Dillman's when I had my class at Dillman's. I did a black paper scene, and this was the scene that was black because this was all dark, and so you basically just painted that. You painted the light. And so this, I wanted to see what it was like to do the opposite. This was painting the light, painting the dark, and because when I did it on the black paper, I would just have to paint the light. So here we painted the dark part. Let me get this tape off of here to show you what it looks like without it. And so we're done 5 minutes early. Again, thank you, Sarita, for the beer. And tell Ben I thank him so much for the beer. And they gave me 2, so after I get this one finished, I can have another one. And so I saved it for tonight because I didn't know if there was actually a beer that is made in Florida. but didn't get a chance to get out there. We were very busy painting and drawing and painting and with class, so I didn't get a chance to get out there. But let's put that aside here. Get it all cleaned up here, and see if there's any more questions. I don't think so, right? So let me just say goodbye. And again, let me put this up here again one more time. So the the Facebook group.com groups, BeckerArt FYP goal. That's float your pigment goal. It's a goal of anything. So if you go to my website and if you get my newsletter, I'm going to put some links in there. I'm going to put some links on Facebook and see if you want to join up here. You do have to get permission from me to join. I'll let you in. And also when you post something, I also have to approve it, and so that we keep things really nice and stuff. And so here we go. We'll end it here, and let's see if we can see this really nicely. But another fun painting, and thanks guys. Thanks so much for coming in every Thursday. I was glad I could do it today in this nice, beautiful hotel room, and so hopefully I didn't make their towels too dirty. And we'll see you next Thursday. Next Thursday again. If you have any ideas of what to paint, let me know, and I would love to try to find something like that. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Here, where can I see this? Okay, there you go, Pennsylvania. There it is. There's what we're drinking tonight. 10 paintbrush. All right. So see you later, guys. Bye bye. Good stuff.